My name is Father Christian Lindenbach, and welcome to everyone who is joining both in the Archdiocese and beyond. Over the next few weeks, what we're going to be doing is to be preparing. This is, of course, the beginning of Lent. It is a time of preparation, but also a time of contemplation. And so with this preparation and contemplation, we have to ask ourselves, what are we preparing to celebrate? And at the heart of this preparation, at the heart of this celebration is what's called the Kerygma. And that's a fancy word meaning the core of the gospel message. And this Kerygma, this message that we are both preparing to understand and to celebrate, is that God has created us. But through our broken humanity, we have chosen to do things that do not help us see our vision of God. And as a result, out of a place of love, God doesn't reject us, but God sends Jesus to show us the face of the Father and calls us to a deeper communion with Him. Only humanity, out of all creation, can know and love the Creator. We alone are the creatures on earth that God has willed for our own sake. And we alone are called to share, through our knowledge and love of God, in God's own life. It is the fundamental reason for our dignity. It is the answer that makes this human pilgrimage make sense, because in original sin, we live in a tension. There is a 16th century poet named John Donne, and he writes, "We think that paradise and Calvary, Christ's cross and Adam's tree, stood in one place. Look, Lord, and find both Adams inside of me. As the first Adam's sweat surrounds my face, may the last Adam's blood my soul embrace." And so we have this reality that we are both human searching God. And so to help this preparation, I have selected the subject of the retreat for these next few weeks to be based on the encyclical, that is the whole letter to the Church, called God is Love, Deus Caritas Est. It's written by Pope Benedict in 2005. It came out on Christmas Day, and a lot of people were wondering, what is this going to be about? And what this letter shows us is that at its core, the centrality of love in the Christian life and how that love calls for our response. Pope Benedict says, being Christian is not the result of an ethical choice or a lofty idea, but it is an encounter with an event, a person, which gives life a new horizon and decisive direction. Years ago, at the start of my seminary formation, I did what's called the spiritual year. And it is a time of preparation wherein I was supposed to open my heart to the movement of the Spirit. And an important part of that year is what is called the Days of Disposition. We do those before we do any sort of retreat. And what the Days of Disposition are supposed to do is to dispose you to enter into that space, to prepare you spiritually and physically for the program ahead. This time of prayer, this time of human work and contemplation of God. And so for this retreat, what kind of disposition are we looking for? Where do we find ourselves at the start of this Lenten journey? Let's be honest, some of us are experiencing stress, anxiety, or perhaps even some trauma as a result of all of the restrictions that we've been living with the last couple of years. It's important to name our reality. But at the heart of it, what we are looking to get at over the next few weeks is the reality that God is love. That is what we are trying to dispose ourselves to understand. And we have come to believe in God's love, and we must share it with others. This is the focus and also the challenge of our time leading up to the celebration of Christ's resurrection at Easter time. And so what the next few weeks will have are a series of talks around this reality, combined with reflections for each week to do on your own. Now you might be asking yourself, is there a specific way that I'm supposed to pray, or what is the right way? And it's been told to me that the spiritual student tries to find the perfect way to find God and searches heavily, whereas the master knows that God is already in your life. All you have to do is open your eyes and ears to see Him and to be aware of Him. The best type of prayer is the one that you're actually doing. So find a way that works and keep doing that. As we begin our preparation for the celebration of the risen Lord, my prayer for all of you is that your Lent be one of recognition, to recognize just how much God loves you, and to be courageous and generous with your response to that love. The prophet Micah tells us what is good in life is to act justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with God, discovering the love of God for your life is a great first step. Next week, we will begin to explore some of the struggles we run into when we say we love this thing or we love that person, and how God is calling you in the midst of that. God bless you. See you next week.